Hey, Breanna, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to have you on. I had Brad come on, and you're COO of CIP, and learned a
Yeah.
lot about what you guys do over there. And really just wanting to hear your perspective as the business development manager.
Yeah, absolutely. So my perspective on, I guess, CIP in general,
Well,
or
just in your role as a business development manager, I know that's different from being just a sales manager. So, kind of what are the differences there?
so in my opinion, there is a difference between outside sales, field sales, and maybe a position like business development. Um, I think that I think that some people don't know that actually, and I think like being in the role itself helped me understand the difference. I would say sales is, so for example, a lot of these large corporate companies. I started out at a company called UniFirst, very large corporate company, Fortune 500. They have many hundreds of sales reps across the country, and in that position, you're looked at. Obviously, it's like very numbers driven. So they're worried about the dollar sign that you're bringing in. Your activities are tracked daily. It's very transactional sales.
Mm-hmm.
So in that position, I was encouraged to hit the streets, talk to as many people as possible. It was more transactional.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like business development, the difference is I'm obviously here with CIP to help build the company and bring in more business. That's the bottom, that's the bottom goal. That's the overall goal. But it's not more just me focused. It's CIP.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring me in to help grow the entire brand.
Yeah.
So, pushing our brand out there, kind of helping push the culture of CIP. I run our LinkedIn. I'm the one who generally I go to conferences, I do networking events, just kind of help get our name out there. And then in terms of customers, I do feel like the difference between business development and then just a sales position sometimes is business development. I'm more focused on building that relationship with that customer, and it might take, I just recently brought on a new customer, and I was shocked whenever we found out we were getting them. I was like, wait, are you kidding? Or because it took me 3 years to build this relationship. And I started prior to coming to CIP. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something I've been working on for a long time. And, that's the difference. It's like sales, I feel like sales positions, it's like how many can you get and how quickly can you do it?
Right.
Business development, it's like you're going to have to cultivate this for a while, and it's not going to be instantaneous. But if you do, if it follows through and it does happen, it's probably going to be well worth it, and it's going to be a long-lasting relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that breakdown because I've had a sales position before, and it is a lot of just cold calling and hit the streets and where are we at, and it's numbers, because how many accounts do you have? You need 5, you need 10, you need 20. But with business development, you're not just building one relationship when you go to a networking event. You're not there just to try and sell something or get a customer.
Yeah.
You're there to build the presence and, like you said, the culture. And that's really important in the oil and gas industry because your brand needs to be set apart.
Yeah.
And people need to recognize your brand, know what you're all about, and then know the quality of what you deliver. So then you're attracting those customers, you're attracting the new business, and your presence in all of that as the business development manager, you do a very good job, because when I think of CIP, I do think of you.
Oh, thank you.
And I see you out at the networking events and posting about conferences, and it is a lot more of kind of the behind the scenes work in a way, because you're not just there to get the transaction.
Exactly.
Like you said, it can take years to build a relationship. And so to be constantly present in building who CIP is, the culture, and you're celebrating new employees coming in, and advocating for your brand in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, there's there is so many operators, there's so many midstream companies, but there is so many service companies.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're going to set yourself apart and stick out in these operators' potential midstream customer minds, I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to put yourself on LinkedIn. You have to kind of showcase, of course we want your business, but like I love that CIP, we are very much a value-based company. We pour a lot of value into our employees. We really do. We just try to push that brand and that culture, and I think that people appreciate it. So,
yeah. Well, and like you said, there's so many different companies out here doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing differently? And it's got to be internal and external. Like what are you doing for your employees? What are you doing for the industry and the community? And it's not just trying to push certain aspects of that. It's really about that value and what the company believes in. And that is something, that Brad and I had talked about when he came on. And so it was really, it said a lot, the way he spoke about the company culture and employees and how you invest in each employee, because you want it to be that togetherness, that everybody's on the same page, that you're valued out in the community, the guys are valued in the field, everybody's working together, and then that's what really grows your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, so I'll start off saying this. I mean, I've worked for other service companies, and, there's, of course, with every company, as you work for, there's good and bad. You're never going to find a job where everything's perfect. It's just not the way the world works. But this CIP has been probably the first service company that I've been in within the oil and gas industry. We do weekly Teams calls. So we have a Teams call with every employee in the company. And we have a Teams call with all the management. And we're constantly touching base with each other every week. Quarterly, we do town hall meetings. So, we get every employee together. Brad comes down. Me and the two other females at the company, we put something together for the guys. We do a presentation. We go over like where we are currently within the company in terms of what we're bringing in, what new customers, what's in the pipeline. And we also praise the employees for, different things that they have met, different successes that they have met during the quarter. So I just think CIP, at least they have always made me feel like I'm very, valued. And they do that with every single employee. It doesn't matter what your position is. Brad has always pushed that. He doesn't want anyone to feel like, I think he tries to make sure that regardless of what your title is, he doesn't want anyone to feel like they're more important than another person.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons why we've done so well as a company. I mean, you can push a company and try to get as many customers as possible, but like internally, if things aren't kumbaya, it's just not you're going to be able to tell. And I think you can. So
yeah, and I understand that because different jobs that I've had, I can relate to that, where it's a really great position and you love what you're doing, but that internal company culture is, maybe toxic or stressful or not. Nobody's on the same page.
Yeah.
And so you can grow some as an individual, but you can do so much more when everybody's doing the same thing, and like you said, everybody's celebrated and acknowledged, because it takes everybody to build the company.
Yeah, and I think that when you make somebody, and at least for me, if I feel appreciated wherever I am, you're going to get the best me.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like you devalue me and you don't understand what I'm trying to do and my efforts are going unnoticed, I'm still going to try. But, I'm not going to do it with as much optimism as I could. And so I think that does make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that I can just see it. So, for example, yesterday we had 2 interns this summer from Lubbock, and it's their last week here. And they were only here for 6 weeks. But, I could tell just over that short span that they were here, I could see that they really enjoyed it. And I can tell that they genuinely are sad to go back to school, even though,
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to go back and go to tech? But we took all the guys to lunch, and all of our field guys that were able to come, we went, and it was just great.
Yeah.
How many companies have I worked for where I can go and hang out with all of my coworkers and we genuinely enjoy spending time together?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, well, that's really exciting, and like you said, just finding the right role at the right company, it makes all the difference.
yeah.
And you told me before you're originally from Abilene,
Mm-hmm.
and you went to school at Hardin Simmons,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where all of this started.
Yeah. So, long story short, so I didn't graduate college until I was 28. I modeled when I graduated high school. I was taking classes at Cisco Junior College because, of course, like many other people, you graduate high school and you're like, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you adult? What do I want to be when I grow up? No
Yeah.
idea. I had always had this pipe dream of modeling, and so I did try. I put a lot of effort into it and ended up with 2 different modeling agencies. The second one that I was with, they wanted me to act, and I tried out for All My Children, and it was kind of like watching a head-on train wreck,
Oh,
It was
wow.
terrible.
What an experience, though.
Yeah, but it definitely humbles you, and it reminds you why those famous actors in Hollywood make so much money.
Okay.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Well, did you enjoy that? I mean, did you have fun with it at least, or did you just know that wasn't you?
I mean, of course I did. I also got to try out for America's Next Top Model. It was just like kind of the first phase of it, so nothing was filmed, but it was one of those things where it was a dream of mine, and I'm proud of myself that I at least tried.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But when I got to the point where I tried out for All My Children and I realized I have no acting skills in my body, that's when I think I was like, okay, it's time let's go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that I've always known I wanted to be self-sufficient and be able to take care of myself and be successful. And so when I turned 26, I decided to go to school full-time, and I finished. Graduated from Hardin Simmons, and then when I was in school, I waited tables. Waited tables all through college, and worked at Perini Ranch Steakhouse, which is in Buffalo Gap.
Yeah, that's an awesome place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, really, really enjoyed it. Something that I realized that I was good at was waiting tables definitely teaches you how to talk to many different kinds of people and be able to relate to them in a quick manner. And, just to be a people person. And you are kind of technically selling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as you know, when you go out to eat, you're going to tip a waitress that you personally liked more than maybe, the opposite. Anyways, after that, I graduated school and then decided...
And what was your degree in?
Oh, sorry. Business administration with a minor in finance.
Okay.
So after school, graduated and decided, if I'm good at waiting tables, I should try sales.
Mm-hmm.
Got my first sales job with a company called Unifirst that I mentioned earlier. And then just kind of eventually it brought me into oil and gas. So
Okay, so there was a natural progression there, and that's really awesome that you went for it and you did something that was like a dream and really just, I mean, you did well. I mean, as far as being able to audition and try out and have the experience and know that you know that you did that.
Yeah.
But going to school and doing something that's going to give you that foundation to be self-sufficient and set you up for more success in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure that was a great move to commit to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the natural progression of oil and gas. And I mean, when you live in West Texas, you're from West Texas, it's a valuable industry, especially when you're from here, because the Permian Basin, there is no limit to the amount of opportunities that you can find.
Absolutely.
But knowing what they are, what you want to do, it's, it can take a little bit of time to find your place.
Yeah.
But once you move into it, and then, it's a whole new journey, because then it's learning the inner workings of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And getting into the produced water side and understanding the functionality of it, and then being able to, like you said, find the right company that's going to value you. So
Yeah.
that can be a long process.
It is. But, I was thinking about this, after we talked before the podcast. I was thinking of just about the jobs that I've had, just throughout my life. Every job that you have, every place that you're at, even if things don't, it's maybe this isn't the right fit, or maybe this didn't work out the way I was thinking. I've never left a situation without, being better than I was before.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's with everything in life. Like, when things don't work out, you can either look at it in a negative manner, or you can think about all the things you learned, and it's just sharpening your skill set for the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking away that wisdom, because you can feel like you've wasted your time.
Yeah.
I've definitely felt like I've wasted my time, especially in oil and gas. I'm like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
But, I can look back now, and you get that hindsight, and you're like, you know what? Those are the building blocks.
Yeah.
That you needed those life experiences,
Yeah.
because then you do have some skill, you have more knowledge, and even though you might not be directly applying it, you either grew and learned something about yourself, or you learned something that's going to contribute to your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you learn not only, so for me, it's like, I feel like I've started to, and of course, just like the rest of us, I'm a work in progress. I still have things to work on. I am not the master salesperson or business development person yet, hopefully one day. But I definitely feel like over the trials and tribulations that I've experienced, I've started to get in the groove of, I know what works best for Breanna. I know personally the best way to do it for myself. And
Right.
And I think that makes a big difference. So
And that's huge. I agree, because you can see how other people are doing it, and it might not be the right fit. Your style is going to be different, and you're unique. And so the way that you approach your customers, or potential situations, networking, you want to feel comfortable. You need to feel comfortable in your own skin to be able to learn and step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
So
and that itself is the challenge too.
Yeah.
Something I've learned, especially in business development or sales or whatever, is being scared and letting that hold you back from, say, going to a networking event or going to a conference, feeling frightened because you feel like you don't know as much as the people that are there, or you don't know anyone that's there. I think, that is a natural thing, and I've experienced that so many times. But if you can just push yourself and say, even though I'm scared or even though I'm frightened, I'm going to make myself do this, and I know I'm going to be uncomfortable, and I know I'm going to go home and probably overthink every question I asked and every conversation I had. But the more you do that, every time you do that, you realize that just because you're scared of something, you can still do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just builds your courage up and your confidence. And I feel like because I've made myself and pushed myself to do those things, I feel like I have a lot more courage than I used to. So.
Yeah, I believe that, and I've experienced that too. It's like you have to be okay with being a beginner.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with, it can be very difficult in the Permian, because people that know each other, that have been here, that are in the same organizations, it's not always, it's not easy to adapt, and it can be very cliquish in the Permian.
Yeah.
And so then you have that wall to break down, in either trying to figure out if that's going to work for you, and you just got to keep trying, or maybe those aren't your people, and you haven't found your group yet.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of value when you have the courage and you have the knowledge, but then you're also working with the right people, and you're networking with the people that are going to help you succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, just for everyone out there listening that deals with that, don't be scared to go out there alone. There is a lot of courage going out by yourself, and even if you don't have your click yet, or your group, like, I mean, all the entrepreneurs out there, all these people that started these companies, you know, and they're very successful now. I guarantee you they didn't get there from letting the way they felt by being by themselves dictate them. Having the courage to go out by yourself is, I feel like, where magic happens.
I agree with that. Yeah.
As
Yeah. I agree with that because I was, you know, when I started my show, I mean, it's nerve-wracking just to drop something out of thin air and say, this is what it is. But, you know, and then week after week, you know, it's like you're refining, you're getting better. And like you said, it's the reps of talking to people, of being okay with making mistakes or saying, okay, like, why did I say that? That didn't even make sense. Or I'm like, I'll watch myself on camera and I'm like, why do I keep repeating that same word? Like, what am I, you know, what is that? And so it's like, you have to be okay and push through. And then I recognize I've gotten a lot better. And, you know, kind of like you're saying, it's like, well, I don't, you know, I've got plenty of room to grow.
Yeah.
And there,
as we all do.
I mean, every week. And so it's fun once you get past all of that, and like that fear and anxiety and, you know, worrying or like, you know, feeling like you're not included or you don't feel comfortable necessarily in a group setting or at a networking event because you recognize a lot of these people have been in place for a while and then you're just showing up trying to figure it out. But you can really break down those walls.
Yeah. And I think there is some beauty in being able to tell yourself at the end of the day that, you know what, maybe there was a couple things I did today that I would have, if I could go back, I would have said something different or I would have done something. But you know what? I'm going to just keep moving forward. And if you can share that with other people, I think if we could all be more transparent that we're not perfect.
Right.
And we could talk about those things. I mean, you know, it's just, I just think that, I just think that we've all been there and we're all there and we're just moving forward. So.
Well, and I think that honesty and that vulnerability of saying that, and true, I think that sometimes cliques form based on insecurities.
Absolutely.
You know, and so the reason you're unwelcoming to this person is because your group is insecure and maybe feeling threatened, or they're just not that secure with themselves. And so that just breeds more division.
Yeah. And you know, I'm a very my personality is very loud. I am very Breanna. People that know me, they know me. I mean, and you know, I'm just kind of, I can't walk into a room and you don't know that I'm there because I'm just so loud. Boogly. But you know, I've experienced that. I feel like whenever you're very colorful and you don't exactly always color in the lines, you can make people uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. I know I can make people feel uncomfortable. I mean, like, I'm very tall. You know, I have red hair. My name is very unique.
I love your name.
Thank you. And but you know, it's funny. It's my whole life. A lot of people have always thought my real name was Breanna.
Okay, well, when I was growing up, my parents used to call me Breezy, and I have pictures with birthday cakes that say "Happy Birthday, Breezy."
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they spelled it like that too.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's a very unique way that it's spelled. So,
Yeah.
but you know, a lot of people don't believe that that's actually my real name.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
I'm like, get your ID out. Let me see it.
I've definitely had to do that before, you know, and I'm like, look, I'm not trying to explain it anymore. Here it is. I promise it's on my birth certificate. And so it's, I mean, I agree, when you're colorful and you're unique, you automatically make people feel a little unsteady because it's unfamiliar.
Well, and I think in certain situations and in certain industries, you know, I think that sometimes there's just this, like, these unwritten rules in place. Like, you should act this way and dress this way and behave this way. And that's great and fine. We should all be a professional. I agree with that. But I just feel like, I don't know, being yourself and bringing that extra spice, there is nothing wrong with that.
There really isn't. And I think that you need to be true to yourself first.
Yeah.
And the culture can adapt to you.
Yeah.
Because if you try and change yourself or water yourself down, like, you're not being authentic all the way.
No. And when it comes to work, I think, honestly, something that I have learned is I think that customers appreciate that.
Yeah.
They appreciate the genuine, being that way makes you seem more genuine because you are being yourself. And when they have, hundreds of business development salespeople calling on them, trying to get their business, and what's going to stick out to them is a person that they enjoy hanging out with.
Right.
That they appreciate the way they are. And I just think that being yourself in general is always the best idea.
It really is. But, once you get to that place and it's fun and it's exciting, but then another wall that you begin to face is the stereotype that, especially in oil and gas, you see a female that's attractive, that's pretty. You might count her out, that maybe she doesn't know her job that well.
Absolutely.
And because then there's a whole part of our culture out here that plays to that. It's like the prettier you are, the less it seems like you have to know about the industry, about your position.
Yeah, like I feel like the prettier you are, that must be the only skill set you have.
That's it. That's all you've got. And so
there's just a lot of crickets up there.
Yeah, it's like, you're pretty, you can't be smart. It's like, wow, you are gorgeous. You don't have anything going on.
You must be dumb.
Yeah, and so it's like there's a stereotype. And so, getting people to take you seriously, or, separating yourself, because then there's a double-edged sword when we post on LinkedIn. A post where the people are in the picture does better than a picture that's just of, like,
a selfie.
Yeah, it's like you want to be in the picture and be with your group of people, or you're out in the field, or you're at a conference.
That's showing culture.
That's showing culture. Yeah. Yes, but when it's just you, and then it's just always just you, and it's always just this heavily filtered image, it's like, what are you selling? And because then it seems like you're just selling an image.
Well, and I feel like, I will say this. I'm proud to say I've never posted a filtered selfie on LinkedIn. So I feel like I should get a sticker.
Yeah.
No,
that's awesome.
No, I think that there's a time and a place for that. Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
You know what, girl, you're feeling yourself, or guy, post that selfie.
Right.
Like, of course, we all do that sometimes, as we should. But I just feel like you're hindering yourself.
Right.
You're not doing yourself any favors by saying, like, I don't know, buy this drill bit from me, or buy this AST from me, whatever, and here's a picture of me.
Here's just a picture of me.
So why are they going to buy it from you? Because you look hot in your selfie,
Right. Well, and that's true, because Instagram was really made for selfies.
Yeah.
I mean, the original Instagram, it's like you've got your original filters, and there wasn't anything else to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's evolved quite a bit, but
Yeah.
it's like it really was more of a platform of your own personal image. And sure, that's what people are using it for. But with LinkedIn, you need to be responsible with the way that you present yourself in that professional manner, and showing that, hey, it's like you're confident and you're proud to be in this picture showing the culture.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just a picture of yourself in your car.
Yeah, I agree. And I think just across the board, it's just, I start thinking about it and kind of going in deep down a rabbit hole in my brain. And I'm like, not only are you painting yourself in a light that I'm sure you don't want to, but you're also painting yourself in a light where whatever company that you want to go work for, or whatever company you're ever talking to, they're hiring you because they have that view of you.
Right.
And it's like you're just keeping yourself in this little box. And, I don't think it's fair. I think that prejudices, or if I said that word right, they're there for a reason sometimes. And it's unfortunate because they label certain things as all these people are these things, or all these people are this way. And I feel like women, we've fought really hard to get here,
right,
to get where we are. And, we have women running around saying, I want to be equal to men, and this, that, and the other. And hey, I'm with you. But if we're going to continue to paint ourselves that is our biggest our biggest value in life is the way we look, like, we're just keeping ourselves in this little box.
Right. And it's definitely setting us back a few hundred years when we do that. Because, I mean, women worked very hard to get the right to vote. to be able to work in factories, to get out of the house, out of the kitchen, out of their gender roles.
Yeah.
And so we have this conflict just as females in general, where it's like we want to be equal to men, but then we have, women that are just saying, well, look at me. And, then the screenshots that people take of what they see on LinkedIn, you're getting made fun of.
Yeah.
I know you think you have a lot of likes on this picture, but behind the scenes, no one's taking you seriously.
Yeah. And I've been, I have friends, and God bless them. They're beautiful, and they do sometimes use that avenue to sell. And you know what? I'm that kind of person. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, because I'm sure there's things I do that you're like, what is she doing? Like, this girl's crazy. I'm like, kind of. But my thing is, like, girls are already so mean.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's sad to me. I thought whenever I graduated high school, that was it. No, I'm 34 years old, and girls are just as mean as they were in high school, just in a different way.
Yeah.
And I go to events, and I see the girls that post those pictures, and I walk around, and I hear, those cliques of girls together whispering about her. And it's unfortunate, because I'm like, that girl's really nice.
Yeah.
And she actually is really smart. And you are putting that label on her because you saw that picture on LinkedIn or whatever. And honestly, shame on you for judging somebody, but also
it's hard. Yeah, there's no side to take there, really, because she's doing it to herself. But then you've got, like, mean girls come in all shapes and sizes. And you're right, it starts in junior high and high school, and it never ends. And so then we're fighting to have these rights and to be taken seriously. Yeah. But then you're being mean to each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're going in a cycle, and we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so just trying to, shed some light here and give some education, because these girls that are posting the filtered selfies, and they're showing the younger ones that are coming in, or the ones that are just showing up and saying, hey, get into oilfield sales, you'll make all kinds of money. All you got to do is take a picture of yourself and,
just download Facetune.
Yeah, just download it.
That's your training.
Yeah, that's their...
You don't need training, just download Facetune.
Yeah, just download it.
Let me show you this angle.
Yeah, it's like, here, just, watch a YouTube tutorial on how to use it better. Yeah. And then that's it. And so it's like you're very clearly very surface, but then these mean girls that know better aren't even trying to educate or, trailblaze. Like, you can be pretty and smart and represent a company and have fun and be yourself and be colorful, but you've got to hit all those marks. You can't just check that one first box, like, I am pretty, please buy this from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, what a vacuum truck does. I don't know how many gallons of water that, it holds. Like, then you, if you don't study the industry, if you don't know your job, people are going to count you out right away.
Yeah. And you're just holding yourself back in life, and you're not doing yourself any favors.
No.
So.
No, absolutely. And so it's like, I hope that as we move forward as a culture, we can have more transparent conversations, because it's not about criticizing the ones that are doing it, but it is about talking about it and saying that, we've worked hard to get to where we are. Let's stop having people laugh at us and make fun of us. Let's stop being mean to each other.
Well, and I'll say this too, and we all know this, and sometimes I think it's unspoken, but yes, I have not ran into one girl that's in the oil and gas industry that's not beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't. You're beautiful. I mean, that is just, I get it, and play that card. That's great that you're beautiful. I mean, right. I am very aware that helps more than it doesn't. But don't let that be your only card.
Well, and don't let that be the most interesting thing about you.
No, because we're all going to be old and wrinkly. Well, hopefully. I will just continue. I'm like, we're Botox. No, I'm just kidding. But eventually, gravity's going to take hold. And I mean, I would just hate for myself and the rest of us women in oil and gas to look back one day and feel like we didn't take advantage of the opportunities we were given and educate ourselves.
Right.
Because what is knowledge? Power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's like you combine beauty and power. You can be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then let's be...
Move over, men.
And then let's help each other and celebrate each other and not...
And be kind.
And be kind and not be insecure, like, oh, I'm threatened because she's prettier than me. I don't, she can't be in our group. Yeah. She can't sit at our lunch table in our 30s. You know, it's like, and then, meanwhile, the men are doing all the business and making all the money.
Yeah, and can we talk about that? Do you ever see, I don't ever see any of my guy friends in oil and gas, like,
Yeah, no, very, very few. And it's a little awkward when you do, because there's a few out there, but it's like there's these techniques that are used. It's like the boys club is always going to win, because at the end of the day, men speak the same language, and so they feel comfortable, and then they know the jobs. And so to be a beautiful woman, to be taken seriously, to be able to sit at that table, to be able to be just as successful as a man, you have to separate yourself, you have to set yourself apart, and we do have to work twice as hard.
Yeah, and it's, I will talk from my own experience. I feel like I will say this, there's plenty of people in the Permian Basin that I do business with, or working with, that are, they know me, they respect me, they don't look at me like that. But there has been plenty of situations where I go to a meeting or I meet somebody and I can tell that's what they're looking at, and they aren't looking at anything else, and they don't care to know, if I'm smart or anything else about me.
Right.
And I've heard, one time I was at a conference, and, everybody hangs out at the hotel after the conferences are over, and older gentlemen, I got up, went to the bathroom, and some of my coworkers were with me, and they were sitting at the table, and he made some comment like, well, I clearly see why you guys have her at your company, and or blah, blah, just derogatory comments. And God bless him, they stood up for me and told him, like, she's actually really good at her job, and she's actually very smart.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's unfortunate.
Well, it is, because, but then the other side of that is, there are companies that would hire you just because of how you look.
Yes, there is.
And then also don't care to educate you.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's no investment, because they could say, you know what, she's a beautiful woman. She would be an asset. She's got a great personality. She might not know that much about what we do, but we can train her. We can send her to a training. We can, show her the way. But there's that shallow desire for some to just say, well, she'll get them in the door, and then we'll close it.
Oh, I'm not going to name any names, but I have absolutely worked for a company before, and they, it was something that it was new and unfamiliar to me, and I tried to basically ask them to explain to me, like, how it worked, what they did. I don't want to walk around and, I don't know. I'm just really pretty, aren't I?
Yeah, like you just got air in your head and you're here.
Yeah, and I tried to ask, and I was basically told that we hired you to reel people in. You don't need to know anything. I wasn't there very long.
No, I'm sure you weren't. But, it's funny is I believe you weren't there very long, but there would be some that would be like, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Yeah,
I got a whole album of selfies, and we can fire those things off.
No problem. Monday morning, I'll get the calls coming, And so it's like, but then you've also got to look at it too, that some of the people you're attracting, there's no value in those people.
No.
And so then you're just getting harassed and bombarded by people that are just, they're interested in you not because of even the company you're working for. They're clearly looking for something else.
Yeah, do you think that's going to be a long valued customer relationship?
Right.
They're just taking meetings and wanting to meet with you because you hired this girl.
Yeah. And it's very insulting and it's disheartening, because you want to work hard, you want to do a good job, and you want to represent a great company culture, which you do now. And so then, again, like what I was saying at the beginning, your perspective as the business development manager, you've been through it all, you've seen it all, and you know that you're in with a good group of people that value you for who you are.
Oh, yeah.
And then what you can do in the community. And so I admire that, and I'm really appreciative of you, like, even coming on and talking and sharing all of this, because it's like, I know it's something that gets talked about a lot amongst
it's something we all know.
We all know, and it's like it's rampant. And like I said, it's and because LinkedIn can get a little bit bland if you're not seeing, conference and events. Like, there can be a lot of just information, and so you see a selfie pop up. It can be entertaining to see it, but the thing is, then now there's the subculture of take a screenshot of this girl, send it to your buddies, and make fun of her all day.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Well, and
I know that because I've had too many of them tell me what they're doing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's a small area. We all go out, and we all run into each other places, and it's just like I almost sometimes feel bad for people that I know that's what people immediately go to in their brain when they see them. Because I'm like I said, I'm like that girl is wonderful and she's smart and there's more to her than that, but.
Right.
Here we are.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's a stereotype, and it's a cycle that needs to be broken.
Yeah.
And I think that there are really incredibly smart women in this industry, and I think that we've just got to continue rising above that, and not doing that, not contributing to it, and showing what you have to offer and what you're doing for your company, and continuing to set yourself apart. You know, we've got to break the cycle as far as how women treat each other, and allowing that to impact you. So as you've said, you know what, I'm going to be here if I want to be here. This is who I am. It is very courageous, and you do have a lot to offer. You do have a lot that you contribute. I mean, even in the nonprofit side of the community with Casa de Amigos.
Yeah. So I never knew anything about that organization. And what is Tim's last name?
Jackal?
Yeah.
And I think I'm saying
Hopefully
it right.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. He'll forgive us if we got it wrong or if I butchered it.
Yeah. Well, he so I guess last year he had just stepped into that position. It was fairly new for him, and they do their gala once a year. And, he just last minute contacted me and asked if I could help find sponsors and things like that for that event and sell tables. But I was able to go up to their facility, and he gave me a tour of it because I was unaware of what they did. It's pretty awesome. They offer free health care for people in the area that cannot afford it. They take care of senior citizens, feed them. I think it's kind of like a Meals on Wheels situation. And then they have classes to help people learn English if they don't know it. And they even do things like offer CDL classes. So they really do I think it's awesome. They're pouring into the community, and not just helping them out, but they're helping set them up so they can take care, so they can be self-sufficient. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. The culture of Casa de Amigos is really incredible. The whole mission of helping people help themselves.
Yeah.
And I think because, again, with a stereotype, you can be counted out.
Yeah.
If you're not already self-sufficient, if you're not set up, if you don't come from a family that's helping you be successful, it's like, it can be difficult to find the right resources, or if if you don't know English, learning that can be a challenge. I can't imagine either, because the little bit of Spanish I can speak, it's not very good. And if I'm not because when I worked in the field, I knew a little bit because I was around it every day and I could at least pick up on different things. But to be in a foreign land and not speak the language and not even know how to go about learning it, the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, I can't imagine how frustrating that would be.
It would be, and very limiting again. And so you don't have the same opportunities. And so I think, that's a great organization to be involved in.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's definitely one that if you want to help the community, it's definitely an organization that is really committed to helping the community members to better themselves, to better their lives.
Oh yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. I'm on the Permian Basin Pipeliners, and I love that we raise money for scholarships and then some nonprofits as well. And there are a lot of other organizations or associations within oil and gas, and it's oil and gas focused. And again, to reiterate, I think that's wonderful. But I also just do think there definitely needs to be those organizations where we all do pretty well. That's why we live here. It's not because of the beautiful views, and we all do well for ourselves. And I'm a big, firm believer in, with many blessings, you are responsible for taking care of the less fortunate. And I think we should pour into families and stuff around here that aren't as blessed as some of the rest of us might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a way to bring everybody up. You're bringing up the industry, you're bringing up the community,
Yeah.
and because the resources we have here are plentiful.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to go around, and even though that can get misconstrued and there is a lot of greed and there is a lot of self-serving behaviors and desires, but if you turn that out and you look at yourself and you say, I am so blessed and I've been given so much, what can I do
Yeah.
for someone else?
Yeah.
You're just making your own community better.
Yeah.
And so you're making your world better too.
Yeah.
But you have to have that mindset, and you have to have that willingness to give.
Yeah. I just think it's kind of your that might sound bad, but it's your responsibility as a good human being is to pass on, pay it forward.
Yeah.
So.
Pay it forward, shine that light, do something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of that here. There's a lot of giving, and there's a lot of oil and gas companies that sponsor things, that want to be involved, that want to help the community, but there's so much need. And there's so much that we have to give because we're constantly generating that energy in the Permian.
Yeah.
And so there's plenty to go around. And so just continuing to have that focus.
Absolutely.
And it's something else that you had mentioned to me before, as far as trying to help out others and raise awareness. You have a friend from it's high school.
Yeah, so he's from a little town outside of Abilene called Tuscola. Known him for a long time, just never been super close, but it's just one of those people that we've always known each other, and he's a wonderful person. And he actually lives in Midland. He's in oil and gas, and he was with Earthstone, and then previously, I can't remember who bought Earthstone, but Permian Resources purchased Earthstone, and then he started doing some consulting work. Anyways, his name's Mitchell Hicks, and one of the nicest, most genuine people that I've ever met, and my age, and just out of nowhere got sick, and he's battling brain cancer, and he's at MD Anderson right now, but they have a fund going around for him, and I am definitely advocating that whoever feels compelled to help him, he absolutely needs it. So,
well, I appreciate you advocating for him and talking about his condition, and with being an oil and gas in the oil and gas industry, and needing that kind of assistance. I know it's something that the Permian feels very strongly about. When they hear that someone that from the industry has is battling something, or is struggling in some way, it's like wanting to come together and do what they can to help.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely encourage anyone that would be able to give or to contribute, and just kind of help him and his family during this time.
Yeah.
That financial burden can be very heavy, especially when you're going through something like that.
Yeah. And I hate it, whenever, even if it's somebody like Mitchell, him and I aren't super duper close, but we've always been friends. It's crazy. It kind of hits home. It reminds you, you never know. Like, life is, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
It's crazy.
It can be very fragile and unexpected. And so when you get that kind of detour in your life, like having people thinking of you, praying for you, and lifting you up, and I know that would hit home for a lot of people, and to be battling something like that. So I really appreciate you talking about him and sharing his condition. So hopefully we can raise some awareness for him.
Absolutely.
And just talking about what you have going on, and I mean, you're very committed to CIP and your job and your journey here in the Permian, and nonprofit work, and you seem very you found your place, and
I think so.
You're doing very well. And so what are you most excited for about the future?
That's a good question. That's like one of those what's your 5-year plan questions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think I'm excited. I feel like, and I don't know how old you are, but I feel like it's weird when you get closer to your mid-30s, you really start to come into your own. And of course, we all have our insecurities, but you get really comfortable in who you are. And I feel like, at least for me, I feel like I finally definitely know what I'm good at. And I feel like I finally landed in a spot where, you know, I'm supported. And I feel like, you know, if you're not with the right company or whatever, no matter how good your skills are, it's hard to really get going. But I feel like CIP, I feel like I'm in a good spot, and I'm excited to see where we go and excited for life. And yeah, I'm just happy. So,
You know, I get that. And actually, like, I know what you mean. It's like, what's your 5-year plan? It's
Yeah.
like, what are you excited about in
I
life?
don't know.
But I think it's once you find yourself, you are excited just to be on your track.
Yeah.
And it feels good just to be doing what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
And letting it shape you even more to where you're not searching for something or trying to find something, but you're cultivating the life that you want.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you're able to do more and enjoy it. It's not just a struggle of, you know, trying to fit or trying to learn. You can refine and you can develop more skills.
Yeah, yeah. Life looked a lot different for me when I first moved this direction towards Midland. I was just in a different situation, and I was very stressed and unhappy. And I think that, unfortunately, when we have things going on in our personal lives that cause us unhappiness, it just inevitably leaks out into other parts.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to be optimistic about much, but I move forward with my life, and it's amazing what happiness and peace, even with your career, the difference it'll make. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when you find what you're good at and you find your niche, like you can get away from the wrong things easier. You don't feel so consumed.
Yeah, yeah. And I will tell you, it is the nicest thing to, for now, I have a boyfriend, but to be single and to be flourishing in my career, and it's just exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I appreciate it, and I love your energy. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing all of it, and just thank you again for coming on Power of the Permian.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully I don't get canceled, but
No way. No, I really appreciated your perspective.
yeah, well, I thank you for having me on, and I really enjoyed this. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.